Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Infrastructure Services Committee on the 12th of November 2024. This meeting will be audio recorded and those in attendance should refrain from making any confirmatory statements. There are to be no other recordings of this meeting without prior authorisation of the committee. Do we have any applications for attending via video link?
No, Madam Chair.
Any apologies?
We do have one apology from Councillor Pat Ryan.
Seconded. All in favour? Just Harry. Any disclosures of interest?
No disclosures.
No public participation?
No.
Okay, on the business items. ISC 11.1 works program, the water and sewer. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved. Moved, Councillor McBean. Seconded, Councillor Collison. Over to you, Graham.
Thank you, Chair. I'll step through because it's been so long since our last meeting and with a new councillor in the room. I'll just step through each item very briefly to let you know what's happening in the water space. Merriwell water quality, obviously the radionucleotides at that area we had elevated levels. That's been tested and we are waiting for the final results to come back. That has been delayed a couple of weeks. But we're expecting that later this week or early next week. Once we've done that, we'll be talking to New South Wales Health and we'll be talking to DQ about how we can keep those levels low and what we need to do from a communication perspective. Recycled water from our treatment plant has been low for the first few months, but it's starting to ramp up with the dry weather. Not that we have it today, but it has been dry. Joint water treatment plant. So council has a joint process with Muswellbrook Council to consider a water treatment plant, and we have been through several stages of that process, and we are looking at the financial viability of that with Becca. That should be here in around December or January next year to see whether or not that's feasible for both Muswellbrook and at the sewage treatment plant, where we have a large project around $2 million, which is the removal of biosolids, and that is progressing well. Our sewer relining program is going well. Also, we've got some work happening in Aberdeen where we're replacing some pipes. Our water main renewal works are also occurring. Integrated water cycle management is a project where we look at the strategic works that need to occur over the next 30 years of water treatment plants. So it's a very high level analysis with a lot of detail, and that is likely to be completed probably by March next year. There's a few things around Scone-Murrurundi pipeline, and there is an error in the report, but I apologise. The last line says the land is being reclassified from community to operational. The way that when we purchase land, typically if it doesn't get classified as operational, it falls to the community category. When we purchase that land, we have formally now classified that land as operational. So it wasn't a transfer between the categories, just merely confirming it was operational. The Merriwell sewage treatment plant requires a pipe from the main discharge point down to the river. There's an easement required to be purchased for that. We've been looking at that for the last few, probably 12, 18 months, and that's drawing to a conclusion, and we should have that for it to install like next March. Two other items. Glenborn Dam pipeline. We have a pipeline that discharges water out of Glenborn Dam, which we use for our water supply at Scone, Murrurundi and Aberdeen, and that was damaged during a water release by New South Wales Water, and we are in the process of fixing that. That's what the discharge was. And the last item on the list, which is Murrurundi Dam. We are going through the process of implementing the council resolution, and as part of that process, we are going to be sending a report to council for a small section of land to be created as an easement, which is required for the discharge of the dam spillway approach, and that will come to council as a separate report. The only other one is on the back of your report. You'll note there is a diagram of a possible recreation space for the dam and going forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Was there any comments?
Yes, if you can just clarify the easement, which land are we talking about?
Right, the easement at.
At the dam, you're just talking about an easement.
Yeah, so if you see on the diagram, the top left-hand corner, you can see where it just goes beyond the dotted line. That goes on to the adjacent property. We're in contact with that property owner. We've had a site inspection. We've, in principle, he's agreed that that's where it goes. That's where the natural flow goes now. But this is a much more formalised structure, and we want to be able to both install it and maintain it in that location.
Thank you. Just a general response to that design, it's absolutely the antithesis of what the community wants and expected. We don't need a two-lane highway, we don't need recreational vehicles, we don't need a camping ground. The image or what the community imagined was that we would get a wetlands more akin to the Botanic Gardens than is being proposed in that drawing. I would actually suggest at this stage that the matter be referred back to the Murrumbidgee Community Advisory Committee when it first meets for their input before it goes any further.
Response to the councillor through you, Madam Chair. That was simply a combination of all the community comments that were obtained through the community consultation period. It's a starting point, I guess, from that position. And yes, the intent was to take it to the community advisory committee to get, I guess, any changes or change of direction, I guess, from them. So that's more capable. We can do that. And if it means reducing some of the scope, that's quite easily done.
Thank you, Mr. General Manager, because there are things like, there's a view that it should be a sunrise to sunset operation, not simply it needs to operate 24 hours a day, so there's no need for lighting, for instance. There'll be other aspects of it that can be trimmed back and make it affordable.
Through you, Madam Chair, I think the resolution that was made back in April said that we needed to source funding if we wanted to do anything from master plan. These things cost money. I don't think the ratepayer needs to be copying up that money until we have something that we know is going to be commercially viable. The other thing, there was no, I think someone mentioned there was some reduction of water level by stealth. It was actually written in that resolution that we would reduce the water to 1 metre because of ramifications in terms of funding. The state government charges us money if we have any water source that has a water depth of over 1 metre. So those things were done to save money to the ratepayer. This thing is a work in progress, but like all of our master plans, for example, Little Rose, Jefferson Park, they cost money and they take time before we can deliver them. The other thing is too, while we've got good rain, this dam has water, but if we're going to look at wetlands in the future, if anyone was here in 2018 when people were on level 5 water restrictions in Murrumbidgee, we have to make sure that what we do is sustainable. Through you, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, the other comment I wanted to make or ask was with the Maribor water quality. I believe there was tests done that actually had different results. Is that correct? In the meantime,
The result, we had a set of results that came in that were preliminary results, and ANSTO were going through an exercise in confirming the results were correctly calibrated, and that is the reason for the additional 3 weeks that we have had. The results fundamentally haven't changed, but they were confirming that the calibration was correct.
So just to confirm, the water's still safe for drinking according to the New South Wales health standards?
Absolutely. We have been advised by New South Wales Health that water is safe to drink.
Thank you. Anyone?
Chair, just maybe if I just respond to one of Councillor McPhee's comments, just to let councillors know, this is not the master plan, obviously. Master plan's obviously going to be more than just 2 pages, and this is just a concept master plan to start the conversation. So when we do a final master plan, you're right, there'll have to be some sort of grant funding in order to do that, like we did for the Little Rose and Jefferson Park and like.
through you, Madam Chair, for clarification, a master plan usually takes up to a year.
Any other comments? No. Right, moving on to ISC
We
11
need to vote on this.
What's that?
We haven't voted on it.
Oh, okay.
You want to put it in a second.
I'm sorry, okay, all those in favour? Thank you, guys have it. Moving on to ISC 11.2, the works program works delivery, over to you, Jay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. So this report is all about the routine maintenance works that our team does and few capital works and the flood remediation works. I assume this report is read by everyone. In this reporting period, we have made some substantial progress on routine maintenance works, flood recovery, remediation works and capital projects across the Shire. And I have provided a few progress updates, some photos of our current capital projects. And that's it. And a couple of programs are attached at the end for your viewing. Open for any questions.
Just one, the photos on page 17, can you just explain to me where they are? It's 3 or 4 or 5 photos, the first one, the culverts.
Yeah, so this is the Rooker Road change number 5 kilometers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that work is almost done, and the second picture is at 15 kilometers change. So both are pretty much at completion stage at this point in time. As Brook Road, we have made some significant progress with that project, and also Ridgeland Road, which just started.
Thanks for that.
Thank you, just Madam Chair, the one at Rooker Road, is that the main one where we had the flood damage on the road half closed? It is. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Could we have a mover and a seconder, please?
Moved.
Moved councillor Paulson, seconded councillor McPhee. All those in favour?
Aye.
You guys have it. Moving on to ISC 11.3, the strategic and capital works update. Over to you, Brad.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, this report basically outlines all the capital works that we have in our in this financial year. Assume that the report's been read, so I'm happy to take any questions.
No questions, could I have a mover and a seconder, please?
Moved.
Moved councillor
Second.
McPhee. Second councillor Paulson, all those in favour?
Aye.
You guys have it. Moving on to ISA 11.4, MR 358, Military Road upgrade. Over to you, Joe.
Thank you. This report just provides a progress update on the works being undertaken on Water and Miracle Road. Last time I reported was about 2 months ago, so quite a bit of activity being undertaken since then. For the new councillors or the new committee members, table 1 actually is a key timeline and activities from 2018 to 18th of December 2023. And we awarded the contract we awarded the contract in December 2023, 23, and works commenced early 2024, January, February. There's a good timeline activities table there. At the back of the report, I think on page 44, there's a section map. Outlines section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. From changing 0 to 3 kilometres, so it's been broken into 4 sections to allow us to keep track on the current what's happening. Works on each of those sections. Is a summary in the report, but section 1 was the lowest section. Excavation of the catch drains and clearing is complete, up and away, excavation is finished. So we've done a little bit of minor works on section 1, we're leaving that section to last to ensure works can be completed in the budget. Section 2, we've got concrete line with catch drains and uphill battery excavation is now complete. Section 3, which is the section, it's a pretty big section, but it's the one of the big strips in it. one we looked at before, NT60, but the concrete line of all catch drains is ongoing, up and battery waste is complete. Soil now drilling rest and placement of rock mesh is still continuing in this section. Section 4 is on top of the hill, up and battery waste is now complete. Installation of rock form mesh anchors. I had there that it's continuing. The last 2 weeks had been completed. About 5,000 square metres of rock mesh. Box and complete. I think we've seen photographs, so I can't leave them around. That's happened since I've written the report in the last 2 weeks. So it's all works continuing. Wet weather is holding up a little bit, but we've had a good dry run here. Time we had a couple of dry weeks, we move ahead really quick. Table 2 is some of the critical activities. So just the critical activity at the moment is gardening wall construction is one of the stars. This is the work we're doing out there, but it's about 30 to 40% complete. To make it go a bit quicker, we've now got 3 crews on site, 15 members of the 3 different crews, 5 members of the crew. And where they were doing up to 60 cubic metres a day now, where they were doing 15 before. So it really makes critical activity, which is going to has to be completed before the rest of the job gets complete. The rock bolting in section 3 and 4 is about 85% complete. Rock meshing is up from 40 to 60%. Catch drains are 100, shop creeks 90%, earthworks 85% complete. So they get the gardening wall construction complete, they're able to do the drainage lines, curb and guttering, or curb concrete dish drains, and start the road construction. So moving on well. The project risk and mitigation, there's a list of risks that we deal with out there. Probably the biggest one we have at the moment is the location of the level of the gardening walls, the lower than the box design. So every time we go a metre lower, you've got the lower gravel walls in, so it costs a bit more money under the schedule of ranks. The timing of the ceiling is a bit of a problem. We don't want to seal in the winter time, so we might have to put a private seal on it and then come back 12 months later and put a proper 2-coat bitumen seal. That'll stop, and that'll save stripping and flushing up and from some issues we're having at the moment. Gardening wall installation, we'll see that we've increased that cruise from 3 to 5 passenger cruise now, so we're over 1,000 kilometres of gardening walls built last month, so we're really pushing that program, that critical activity. There's always a high demand in construction industries, so we're having trouble getting materials and other stuff as well. Subcontractors and resource availability, having problems with that at the moment. And very weather is always a risk. But we've been lucky that when it has rained, critical activities is the gardening wall construction. So it hasn't slowed that total time of the project down too much because they're still working through the rain, laying rocks. So that's all good. Project funding total of 48.26 million. We've received 37.4 million to date. Expenditure to date is 14.9 million. Probably 13.9 has gone to Gareth on the straight down as the contractor, and $1 million in that supervision and incident costs. Well, progressing well. Completion is probably the completion date is still about the 25th of July, but we think there's still 8 months to go. I think the average wet days per month around here is about 3, so we still think 8 by 3, 24 days. So the wet weather program is in September, October this time next year.
Wow, okay, thank you. The photos certainly show a lot of work's been done. Could I have a mover and a seconder?
It's been moved.
Second.
Moved councillor McPhee.
Can I make a comment?
Oh, that's what I was.
I'd just like to ask, I know that the LG is doing a report. Have we got any news on that report?
Through you, Madam Chair. So the report was released last week in Parliament, tabled in Parliament, and the 430 report now obviously public until then it had been only given to key OLG staff, so it's now public document. We put out a media release and circulated that. I think the Mayor has made some comments in the media release in regard to the report. If we haven't already done so, I'll send the link to all councillors.
Would you just maybe make some comments on what it might have been about?
So you remember section 430 report, the intent for the reports to investigate the collapse of the main road 358. The Office of Local Government took some time to actually get resources to investigate that, and by the time they commenced their investigation, obviously we were well and truly down the track of actually finalising the design and securing most of the funding, and we've actually got very close to even awarding the contract by the time they did the investigation. They amended their terms of reference in accordance with the progress that we'd already made, and their terms of reference vary from really looking at what happened as part of the failure to what has council learned and done moving forward. So a lot of their focus was on project management practices that we now use compared to what were being used previously. Some of our financial management, a lot of our risk management procedures as well. We had obviously made the decision that we weren't going to deliver the project ourselves, and had already awarded the contract through the state government and Department of Public Works. So that was recognised by the Office of Local Government as good project management, utilisation, use the skills of the state government, take the risk away. So they're quite pleased with that decision. They looked at our project management framework processes that we introduced in the last 3 years, and we have introduced a more rigorous project management framework. They were quite happy with that. They looked at, in fact, this meeting forum and how this meeting works to convey information to and from the councillors. In fact, one of the recommendations is that they felt this forum was probably too operational and councillors were getting too involved in the day-to-day engineering thing, and I gave them some feedback on that we felt that as part of this organisation, at least, it was a good way of keeping the councillors informed of what we were doing from an engineering perspective. But one of the recommendations is that we don't actually hold this meeting, so that's an interesting outcome from that. But overall, the findings were relatively positive in regards to what council's done over the last 3 years in that project in particular, but more generally all of our capital works delivery, and the recommendations they made are more around our governance processes like this meeting and some further improvements to our capital works project management framework.
So I could argue that there's been nothing but improvement seen since you kind of were in the seat of general manager, so thank you very much and well done to the whole team.
Just one comment there.
Did you say 3 years?
It's really Madam Chair, to the General Manager. There was one thing there to call a 6-month review, given this dated June, 6 months is up almost. It's a bit hard to comply with.
Correct. I spoke to the Office of Local Government investigator because the investigator actually gave to the Minister on the 30th of June. The Minister didn't release it until last week. So there's been a considerable time period since the report was written and finalised and actually being released to the public. One of the processes is council has to, I guess, consider the recommendations and make a report back to the Office of Local Government. One of the things that's been suggested to us when that comes to council, we simply ask for a longer period in which to do that. So that they didn't foresee that would be an issue for us.
Okay.
Madam Chair, just to add to that, I mean, Mr. GM, you and I spoke to several investigators that have left the Office of Local Government over this period of time. And it's very, very hard to tell the Minister for Office of Local Government what to do. We've had several meetings with them, and look, congratulations. I think this is a great outcome, and we all know, as Councillor McBee just said, the management and the staff need to congratulate him for the way we've moved through with this. We know we failed. That investigator has gone out and looked at other work that we've got out east of Scone, and come back and spoke to me about how well that we are just delivering to our community. So well done to all. I think it's a great report.
Yeah, well done to staff. Need to vote on, haven't we? Okay, all those in favour? You guys have it. Okay, moving on to ISA 11.5, local roads initial seal project update. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just going through a few of the key points of the report. We'll start with Mooningwood Road, which is on page 46 of the agenda. It says next month's planned activity is to finalise the outstanding small items. Since writing the report, those last items have been completed. The last of the guardrail was installed and the signs have been installed. So we're now at the stage of closing that project out. And figures on page 47 show the sealed approach to the bridge looking west. This is of the extension works, and the second figure is the sealed pavement just going past the camping ground. So it looks pretty good when you're out there and having a look at that new area that's been completed. Move to Barrington Forest Road. There's a bit of detail there on the work that's been done. We're moving forward now with importing more base course material beyond the 4,000 change up and beyond 5,300. So there's works going on there. The photograph below figure 3 shows the road pavement at 200 millimetres below final design surface, and you can see the concrete dish drain in place there, which is 200 above. So the final, you can imagine, the final base course material is about 200 millimetres, as you can see there, where the concrete dish drain is standing proud above the road surface. And then if you look at figure 4 on page 49, you can see it's a different section of the road where that 200 millimetre base course has been imported, and the road's been graded to final design level. So it's not sealed yet, of course, no guardrail yet, but that's the final level of the road in that section there. So I tried to sort of take some photos this month to tell a bit of the story as to how the construction happens. Thank you very much. Hunter Road, a lot of activities happened there within the first couple of months of that, since we started there in July. The two photographs in figures 5 and 6 show activity. You can see there's a lot of activity, a lot of equipment there. There's 5 excavators there when I was there last week. Grader, rollers, water trucks. They're concentrating a whole lot of works within that first 2 kilometres. So there's like a 2 kilometre work zone between the traffic control, and so it's maximising or making efficient use of traffic control there and jamming in as many operations as we can in that 2 kilometre section. So they've got off to a really good start there, and it'll just continue to progress.
Excellent, it looks like a lot's happening and a lot's been done. Was there any other comments?
Madam Chair, just a comment. Councillor Campbell will be proud of me, or Ron Campbell now. Gravel, I've said this before. These jobs have come in under budget. Why? Because investigator commented about how we sourced that gravel from locally again. And I'm guaranteed that is why we brought these jobs in under budget. 30 kilometre round trip with gravel instead of 300 kilometres. So again, well done. A little bit of bleeding in some of the tar that's taken place. Is that just because the hot weather hasn't had time to cure?
Thank you, Mayor, joining the chair. So that has been investigated. Seems like the contractor has used a bit more cutter oil to blend the mix. That has been identified and has been investigated. So they will come back and fix all the issues once I think Chris would probably do a bit more. Thanks.
Through the chair, yeah, that is the case, and the short-term fix is to do a dry scatter of stone, over I said millimetre stone over the top, so it soaks it in and blends it in. The bitumen will take it up, so it won't be as sticky, or won't flush as much. But at over time, once that colour then evaporates out, then it will most likely need to reseal over the top of that.
So through you, Madam Chair, at contractor's expense.
Through the chair, I'm yet to get a report on that. They went and investigated it last week, and they said they were going to do a report. And we went out, we had a similar problem out at Dartmouth Road, and I investigated, we inspected that with them, and they said that was their problem, and for us to capture all the costs. And for them, they will cover all the costs that we spend on that at Dartford Road. I've yet to see that, but they went out to Myrtle Road that afternoon after they had a meeting with some operational, other operational matters. I have yet to see the report that was done last week, so I'm not going to say yes if they haven't seen it.
Thank you for that.
Thanks for that. Could we have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Moved Councillor McFeed, second Councillor Collison. All those in favour? I think the ayes have it. Moving on to ISC 11.6, Scone CBD Revitalisation Project.
Yeah, I can talk to that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Over to you, Alan.
Yeah, thanks. So the report just provides an update on the progress of the CBD project. The key things that have happened in the period was, can you hear me?
Al, we're having trouble hearing. Sorry, Al, if you can hear me, can you turn your volume up? Sorry, turn the mic up if that's possible. Can we turn it up to 10? Al?
Is that any better or no?
Might have to get Raj to give us an update.
Yeah, sorry.
Happy to do that. Okay, so CBD revitalization project. As we can all see, the stage one, which is the blocks 1 and 2 of the CBD revitalization project has been completed, except for the security cameras, which is going to be installed, in the next couple of weeks. Now, with regards to stage 2, we have completed in the last reporting period, which is the last couple of months, we have awarded to Aircon, which is the stage 2 works, which is block 3. They have completed the Durban Median Islands, they have completed the water crossing. We have also done some, utilities adjustment like Telstra and Oxford. And we also completed water main replacement for the scope of works and also stormwater drainage in that area. Now we're looking at completing all the works and the final seal and line marking, everything done by I think 12th of December, and we will probably be hosting an event or organizing a barbecue or something after that. So happy to take any questions if you have any. Thank you.
Chair, the pedestrian crossings, the one on the southern end of the thoroughbred is an actual pedestrian crossing. The others are a walkway. What's the rules around turning them all into a pedestrian crossing?
Thank you, Councillor Morris, through you, Madam Chair. So the identified walkway crossings or the pedestrian crossings are at both ends of the scope of works. One, around thoroughbred intersection. The other one is in front of Belmore. Sorry, not Belmore. Through the close to St. Albans Park. Now, the other ones are just the pedestrian refuges, which is to narrow down the location for safe crossing, but the vehicles have the right of way. If these two walkway crossings, which is the pedestrian crossings, has been funded by the HDAA funding, which is the pedestrian safety or light pedestrian activity funding. Now, in order to convert this, there is going to be a process because this wasn't identified in the design and the scope of works. There's going to be a process to go through if that is going to get traffic committee to endorse it and then go through transport police officers and then see if we have any funding and then we need to do the lighting around it. And there's going to be complications, but this is the high pedestrian activity area starts just between those walkway crossings. And it is a 40-kilometer zone with enough side distance for the pedestrians to cross at desired crossing locations. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, just for you, Madam Chair, again, and same with and this is only feedback from the community. I've got no issue with it myself. The black fence, some of them say they want more pedestrian crossings. I think it's an accident waiting to happen. Is that correct or not?
Thank you, yes, Morris. So far we haven't received any, we do undertake risk management for the project because it's still, in the effect liability period. We haven't heard of any risks with that crossing so far or any incidents. There was one incident where a vehicle kind of damaged the plant box, that was probably due to their, backing up or, going forward. But we haven't heard any, concerns or we haven't had any CRMs in regard to, in regards to site issues in that crossings, but happy to take that consideration and go back and review it, it'll be.
That's 3 minute chair again, sorry for being so many questions, but I know that does a lot of pedestrians jumping over the black fence. I mean, that's at their own risk. But my argument is to put more walkways between the black fence would be a disaster, so that's pretty correct.
Again, this was all thought and designed, during the project phase. We didn't consider these mid-block crossings, because we didn't want just the crossings on the intersections. And that's the purpose to, make it safe for the pedestrians to bring them all to that desired crossing location where we want them to cross. And, like I said, it's a high pedestrian activity, and the speed zone is 40 kilometers with enough side distance. So this is the safest option, according to the scope and the design. And this has been reviewed and approved by Transport for New South Wales because it's their role as well. So I don't see any issues with just leaving these crossings. The more crossings we try to create, there might be more conflict points where traffic could impede pedestrian activity. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Through the chair, I just would support what councillor Collison's been saying about the Wombat crossings. I think they're not adequate, and really we should be investigating going to full pedestrian crossings. Certainly, my experience was the two peak plate drivers were going to go straight over the top of me. And that may be an education process where people learn how to drive that road. But at the moment, there's potential there for an accident.
So just to clarify, the Wombat crossings are pedestrian crossings. Okay, well, maybe we need to do a bit of awareness on that, because I myself didn't actually realise they were a full blown.
Through you, Madam Chair, are they pedestrian crossing? I think they're not pedestrian crossings, they're do cross, but they're not a zebra crossing.
Oh, right, so as in traffic has the right of way, not
Traffic has
humans.
the right of way.
Okay, maybe we need to do some clarification on that, because I'm guessing there's a little bit of confusion in the community around that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a comment on that. When I say Wombat crossings, these are raised
The
crossings.
red,
And with the, stripes, white stripes,
Yeah.
those are designed for pedestrians and they are pedestrian crossings.
okay,
Which is, which is colored in red, which kind of indicates that it is a warning for the drivers.
okay,
And we have also put enough lighting and compliance around it to make it, compliant with the standards. So those are the, designated pedestrian crossings, whereas the mid-block crossings, which, Councillor Morris was talking about, those ones are, the vehicles have the right of way, but we have narrowed down the, into one lane. So that's to make sure that the pedestrians have enough side distance and, the vehicles have the right of way, but it will still be safe for pedestrians to cross with the side distance and with the narrowing of that road.
yeah, I think people are just expecting zebra crossings, the traditional zebra crossings where the human has the right of way over the car, but that's not the case here.
Through you, Madam Chair, would it be possible to look into signage for pedestrians to tell them
Yes.
to give way?
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
Second that statement.
Okay, was there any more comments? No, okay. Should I have a mover and a seconder? Move councillor McPhee, second councillor Collison, all those in favour? I think the ayes have it. Moving on to ISC 11.7, proposal for ARTC land lease in Barangay. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is basically for regarding the ARTC land that council has used, and it has been in place since 1966. So there is a water tower, which is an ARTC asset, and it has got some heritage significance. So what has happened, the background is that in 2017, council actually resolved to allocate 5 grand to actually, undertake some structural inspection works. And based on the inspection report, which is provided in one of the attachments, it is identified that any works to be done on this is going to cost us significantly. Like the estimate, I think, is around $461,000 exclusive of GST. Now, this is back to this. The reason why council actually took over lease for this water tank was to supply the town with water supply. Because there was only 2 reservoirs with gravity flow, and during the dry weather, this tower was supposed to supply water. But since early 1980s, when Marana Dam was built, then the water tower kind of became redundant because the Marana Dam and the reservoirs built around it supplied water to the town. And we, as a council, haven't been using it at least for the last, 40 odd years. So, yes, it's a peppercorn lease we do have. So the recommendation is that we terminate the lease and we give the land back to ARTC with their asset, so they can probably maintain it to the standard of the requirements for the heritage conditions. Thank you.
Was there any comments on that?
Yeah, through you, Chair. The report is full of massive inaccuracies. It was never about water supply, it was about heritage. It was done in 1966 when steam was disappearing. Murrurundi Station was changing, the shed was going, the turntable was going, and the Murrurundi Council at that time took out the lease to preserve the water tower, not to use it for water infrastructure. It's never been used as such. It was purely as a heritage item, so it didn't disappear. Because at that time, railways were looking like they were demolishing everything. In terms of likely heritage item, no, it's actually very heritage, very historic, and one of possibly only one or two of that design still existent in the state. It has significance. The pictures that are all used in this report are old. The vegetation that was cleared 3-4 years ago, it still remains clear. That's already been done. The site is as good as it's going to get, subject to $500,000 to restore it. The construction of the tank, it is cast iron, shipping grade. The rust that is there is merely surface rust on the bulk of the tank. It doesn't require a great deal of maintenance. It can go on the way it is, or someone can spend $500,000 and bring it up to scratch as a heritage item. The more important thing is the weed species growing all around, which are on Artec land, and really if you had a weeds notice to send to them to clear up, that would be more advantageous. I have had brief discussions with the museum in Murrurundi. If that came to it, reluctantly they would take it on. But it's not a priority for them at this stage. I would suggest that we don't terminate the lease at this stage, that we do investigate ways in which it can be either passed on to the museum, whether Artec can come to the party and restore it. But ultimately what we want is that heritage item restored. The fact that council's had it for the last, what are we up to, 58 years, means it's still there. Had council not had that lease on it, you can predict that Artec would do what they've done elsewhere, which is remove it. They've done it in other areas. They've removed one from another town and taken it to a railway museum in Wagga, and that town now is bereft of its tank. The Murrurundi community regards this very seriously as part of our heritage. We were a railway town for many, many years, and this is one of the last remnants of that era, and the town really wants it respected, maintained, and I would advocate council maintain the lease while we work out how to take it forward. But to surrender the lease to Artec at this stage is dangerous and fraught with difficulties, and we may lose a heritage item that we value.
Okay, there was a lot there.
Madam Chair, just
It's all slowly.
who's responsible for the liability, insurances, and everything on that side?
The lease that we signed for, the original council signed in 1966, identifies that council is responsible for ongoing maintenance. As far as insurance, I don't believe our insurance would have an impact by us having that. It would be listed on our insurance schedule, I would imagine. I'd have to check with our finance people to ensure that. But all of our leasing properties are generally listed on our insurance, so it would be covered. Having said that, it's probably more to cover if somebody went on the site and injured themselves than to repair an asset that would, say, fail through natural degradation. Does that answer your question, Councillor?
Yes, thank you. But through you, Madam Chair, just another one. We had this same issue out of Merriwell, where council leased, that went on for many years. Now they've taken that over. Is that correct? Merriwell community.
Yeah, correct. So through you, Chair, the Mary Wall Rail, Historical Society, I have the correct terminology correct, but there was a group out at Mary Wall that showed an interest in a site that we had leased on several years ago. That was the old Mary Wall Rail Station. During that process, we negotiated with UGL, who were actually working as ARTC's representative in that matter. We negotiated to transfer the lease over the railway link from council to the Mary Wall Rail Society.
So, through you, Madam Chair, again, this could quite easily be possible to do the same up Marundi. So looking at the recommendation, can we change that recommendation to give a bit more? I'm not saying we're gonna keep the lease going, but give Marundi residents the opportunity to take the lease over, or what's the best way forward, councillors?
Like for a group from Marundi to potentially take the lease.
Just what I'm saying is defer this bit longer, go
Yeah.
out to the community and say, well, this is it, we are not gonna lease it again at this time. If you wish to take the lease over, we will back you, but that's it.
That seems reasonable.
Any other comments?
Through you, Madam Chair, the lease is merged at this point, it's between a body that doesn't exist, Marundi Council, and a body that doesn't exist,
No, but-
Commissioner of Railways.
We currently have the lease, so this council,
Well, I don't know that the terms have ever been changed, it just seems to have rolled on to the
well,
next.
exactly, so it's rolled over to us.
My understanding, the legal standing is that anything that was signed by Marundi, Scone and Mary Wall, that has
Yeah.
now comes to the railway, so legally we do have the full list.
Yeah, so just further, if I may, I would suggest that this goes back to the Marundi Community Advisory Committee for their consideration and see where we can go. And we can certainly talk to people in Marundi about how they want to get progress this.
So we would need to defer this today, defer removing the lease back to the ARTC.
Well, I'm sure, Madam Chair, that's clear, but I think we need to make it clear that
Yeah,
council is going to hand the lease over to the residents or back to the RAPCOR.
yeah.
So give them more time to talk at the CAC, but make it clear that in the near future, that's only my thoughts, we're gonna terminate our lease.
Through you, Madam Chair, could I ask the General Manager, is there a possibility to extend the lease for 6 months? And from there,
Through the chair, at the moment, that we can continue to lease on indefinitely.
so could I suggest, so this doesn't become, as long as a piece of string, that we amend this, that we continue with the lease agreement for 6 months, and should no one come forward to take over the lease, we terminate, because I think we need to have an end date on it as well.
Yeah, I'd second that.
Through the chair, just clarification, I believe it's a 99-year lease. It's still got a long way to go.
I don't believe there's a term on the lease that's a ongoing year-to-year lease. I believe whatever we continue to pay the lease amount, they'll accept it. It's effectively the arrangement that's in place.
Through the chair, who are you paying, by the way?
Well, I don't believe we've actually paid anyone in reality, so if quite a lot of these Peppercorn leases, because the actual cost of administrating the payment exceeds the actual payment amount, both parties agree not to actually make a payment until actually called upon.
Yeah, you were supposed to pay $2 a year to the station master, and there hasn't been a station master now for 20, 30 years.
That's
They've run out of people to get money to.
Yes. Yeah, Madam Chair, I'll second Councillor McPhee's motion.
Okay, all those in favour?
Sorry, just before we do, can I just get clarification, we're not physically deferring a decision, we're actually,
Foreshadowing.
we're asking the community advisory committee to give some comment, am I correct? Yep, okay.
I think what we want to recommend is that the committee endorses council continues the lease for 6 months. Whereby in this time we seek expressions of interest from groups who wish to take the lease over.
I'm going to take if you've captured all that. Yep, great, thank you.
Don't ask me to repeat it.
Yes, I'll second that, Madam Chair.
Okay, all those in favour?
Aye.
I think you guys have it. That brings us to the conclusion of today's infrastructure meeting.
No,
Thanks, everybody. No, is there something else?
the 10.2, page 62.
That will be our rule of the time.
All right.
No,
No, I don't think there is.
Oh, it's within it, okay,
Yeah, okay.
sorry, you lied.
Okay, anyway. We're over.